I am live. I am, and as always on Sunday morning, I'm kind of a hot mess. Um, Sorry for being a few minutes late, but excited that I made it. As you can see, I have Miss Fiona with me over here, and then right next to her, I got Miss Penny Pen. We got my two lady girls with me today for growing gratitude. And oh, that's unfortunate. I'm sorry about that. I didn't close the curtain all the way behind me. Oh well, onward we shall go. I'm not going to bother getting up now to go and fix that. It won't be too much of a bother to you guys. So, welcome to Growing Gratitude. I am Becca Lori Hector. I am your host of Growing Gratitude. Every week, I come here on Sundays at 10 a.m., or at least try every week to be here on Sundays. And if not, I upload a video um, to talk about the things that are challenging about being an autistic adult alive right now and how we can kind of motivate ourselves through it and all of those lovely things. I am freshly showered, ladies and gentlemen, this morning. It's been a few days, and it was really necessary this morning for me to do that. And so I grabbed a shower right before I ran on here, which isn't something I usually do. So a little out of sorts and a few minutes late starting with you guys, but it was really important that I do that. Yesterday, I have been so tired. So let's talk. I'll just go right into it today. Um, I have been so tired. So tired. The month of April has been, I don't know, I don't know what words to put on it, but the month of April has been something, is what it's been. And I feel it. I'm tired from it. Um, I feel it in lots of different ways. And I guess today I wanted to talk about some of the things that I don't usually talk about, which I don't really talk as often, and I'm certainly not, I don't think my platform is built on, I want to say, some of the other things that I have going on for me. So I don't talk usually that much about the other disabilities that I have going on in my life. They're much more physical disabilities than the autism situation, but which makes them easier and more difficult at the same time, right? It's just a conundrum. But the layer of co-occurring conditions when you've got multiple things going on, right, is really complex, and that by itself can be very exhausting. But of course, all of that stuff is related, right? Like all of those things come together. What's going on in here impacts your physical body. Your physical body impacts how you're thinking, all of those things, right? So we know all of that stuff will have um, things in common and things overlapping and things that impact each other, right? She's such a sweet baby. She's just such a sweet baby. I just love her so much. Anyway, um, so um, yeah, I wanted to talk about that a little today because what I noticed this past week for myself, and as you know, you guys, I really do. I consider it part of my job, part of my responsibilities to sort of for myself and for what I do with you guys to really monitor what's happening for me on a very regular basis, right? And I do it for myself internally, but there's a piece of me also that kind of steps out of self and looks at it from a coaching perspective too, because I often need my own coaching advice. So I often look at myself that way. And so, I was really just thinking about all of this stuff this week because what I found is so I had not last week, but the week before, I had a light and load, I want to say. I had time off from my 9 to 5 job, right? That doesn't mean that I'm not working because I've got a gazillion meetings a week that have nothing to do with my 9 to 5 job. And, but I did need that time away. Like I needed a lightened plate, so to speak, right? I needed to do some catch up. And that week was great. I had a great week. I did some things I really wanted to do. I spent a lot of time just with Antonio catching up on things here in the house. We did all of our vet appointments, which sounds crazy. It was really expensive, but I took the time off so that I could get things like that done, right? Without feeling overwhelmed by the other responsibilities that I have, right? So that I could take the dogs to the vet and even one of my cats and um, give them the attention that they need, but also give that activity the attention that it needs. And there were things like that that I had to take care of in my personal life. So I had taken that time off and I needed some rest as well. right? And I did that, but I also did other things. So it was like non-traditional time off as always, where it was a catch-up week, right? Where I used the extra time that I had to do things around the house that I don't usually have the energy for because I'm working two jobs, right? So that's what I did. Great. Came back to work this past week, right? Re-entry from time away is my nemesis. And I know I'm not alone in that. I know there are a bunch of people that feel that way too, that, come a lot of people avoid, in fact, time off because coming back or fear of missing out while they're away can often be so anxiety ridden that it's not worth the time off kind of thing. But I'm learning to work through that piece because for me, for a very long time, that was what kept me not taking time off. But that's not a healthy way to get through things, right? So um I've been taking more time off like this, right? But in any case, I'm back, re-entry now this past week. Oh my God, right? With everything that went on this entire April, right? I thought I'd kind of be safe to take that last week. No, mm-mm. It was the re-entry was brutal. Coming back to having to deal with the repercussions of everything that's been going on. Um, Talking to a lot of folks, and just in general, it's the time of year, this spring time of year, as we get the energy from outside, people like to get things done. They start getting more things done, and that means my inbox a little bit busier, and people want a few more things, and I have more things to go to, more meetings, more everything, it feels like. So the reentry was particularly painful, this time around. And so while I felt, um this is the only way I could describe it. I felt less annoyed coming back, right? Like I was super annoyed by everyone and everything when I was ready to take time off. And so that feeling of everything just pissing me off was gone at least from this time off. But I came back to just it just started all over again, right? And so it was a bit of a brutal week. And what I noticed this week was that I was feeling a different kind of tired, which is really hard to separate, right? So I'm learning, right? And I'm trying to give it language so that I can talk about it a little bit more. And so this is the language I'm starting with, right? There's brain tired, right? And there's body tired. And for me, brain tired happens first, or I feel that first, right? Because I'm really, really good and I'm practiced in a really sad masking way at ignoring my physical needs for a very long period of time. So I don't feel those physical needs often fast enough to respond to them in a good way, right? Which has been an ongoing struggle for me my entire life, right? Like I'm too late to the party to realize that I have a fever or that I need to rest or whatever. And that's that interoception system. That's that brain body connection that I have had spent many decades of my life learning to break, right? Learning to ignore those needs because I had to push through them, push through the discomfort, right? And so, brain tired, I feel first. But physical tired happens also and separately. So what I realized is this week as I came back, while I wasn't as brain tired as I had been when I left, I had really done very little to support my physical body's rest. Was I had a lot of things to do. I just finished telling you all of the things that I had to do. So I didn't physically rest. I lightened my brain load for the week, or really didn't even lighten it, kind of just switched it up for the week, right? And swapped it out. And so this reentry week back felt brutal, brutal. Like I was pushing through each day. Like, is it over yet? And like that kind of thing. And then I got to the weekend and I can't even tell you how tired I was yesterday. I was so tired that, like, physically tired, that I felt like I was ill, right? I was like, oh, I must have the flu because I slept, I wanna say 75% of yesterday, okay? I had a full night's sleep Friday night into Saturday, right? I woke up on Saturday, I ate breakfast, I took a nap, and not even like, "Oh, I'm going to take a nap." My body was like, "You ate, sleep," like, passed out on my couch, right? Woke up for lunch, ate lunch, did some time outside with the dogs, nap until dinner time. Okay. Woke up, had dinner, hung out with Antonio for a few hours, and then went to sleep last night, slept the whole night. Okay. When I woke up this morning, the light bulb went off. I woke up this morning and I went, oh my God, my physical body was so tired. It had to turn off yesterday. Like I had no options yesterday. It wasn't like if I wanted to do something that was going to happen yesterday. Like my body just turned off twice, 3 times throughout the day, and I needed it, and what I have to remember is that when I this is was a crazy connection. When I get brain tired, right, I there are things that I forget to do to take care of my physical self. For example, I one of the things that I struggle with is POTS and dysautonomia, right? And if you know anything about POTS, we need a lot of salt. We also need to hydrate quite a bit. We need a lot of electrolytes, a lot more electrolytes than most people need. Okay. So one of my jobs as a little potsy to try to take care of myself is to remember to drink a certain amount of electrolytes, right? And eat a certain amount of salt every day. Okay. When I get brain tired, I forget that entirely. I forget to drink enough. I forget to do things right. So that brain tired week, or rather the week that I took off to take care of my brain and give my brain a break, I forgot to take care of my physical self. So when I was so busy doing these things that were not my norm and out of my routine that I forgot to do those basic things, those extras that I have to do beyond eating and sleeping and showering to take care of my physical self, right? So when I came back from that brain rest, my body was exhausted and I pushed it through this whole week and then I crashed. So lesson is, right? Time off has to be for both physical body and for brain, right? They need it together. That connection was something that I was ignoring in terms of the rest state. Of course, I know brain body connection, blah, 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 blah. But rest also, you can't rest one and not the other, apparently, which I've been trying to do a lot my entire life, right? Because I need a lot of rest. And if I rested both my body and brain every time I rested, right, I'd be doing nothing. I would get nothing done. And so I rest in these halfway places, but there are times like in April when the world is collapsing around you as you know it and your realities are being challenged, that you need to rest both. And if you don't rest both, both will rest for you. Blue. And that's what happened yesterday for me was this forced rest of my body. And I drank like I mean, I hadn't been drinking, right? I was so thirsty. It was just really like a catch up day for me in terms of my body, which I usually only allow myself when I'm physically ill, when I think I have the flu or a cold or something, right? Without remembering that my co occurring conditions get to be treated with that seriousness, right? And so there's a piece of my brain I realize that has not quite adapted to the fact that I've also got these physical disabilities on board. There's a part of my brain that understands the taking care of my autism brain, but is still in stark refusal to take care of my physical body. We just don't get along. Right? There are things that my brain wants to do that my body doesn't allow me to do. There are times when my brain wants to continue doing what it is doing and my body won't allow it to. There are um, lots of weird connections between my brain and my body, and I very much feel as a person that my brain is a separate entity from my body, which is so weird, but that's how I learned to survive. I learned to survive as a brain kind of living in a body that it has to utilize, right? Like this is the suit in which my personhood walks around in is how I feel about it. And oftentimes, I'd rather hang out with my brain and do brain things than do body things because my body is so uncooperative all the time, right? I'm so uncoordinated. I have dysautonomia and POTS. I've got all kinds of issues with my proprioception and vestibular where I'm constantly bumping into things. My fine motor coordination is poo, right? My sensory system is a hot mess, right? And so oftentimes I feel like my brain's got it together and my body's a hot mess. And so they just don't work together properly, right? They don't function in a a coordinated way, as if we are one. We do not function, body and brain, as if we are one entity. And I need to start thinking more about what that's about, right? So much of it is about all the times that I've just never been able to take care of my physical needs. And so they became less important. I was taught to make them less important. Right. And so I have some work to do around this, you guys. I have some work to do around understanding, accepting, and loving myself through my physical disabilities as well as my autistic brain. Right. And my autistic brain needs to get with the package here. We need to start to remember that as much as I feel frustrated by my meat suit, and I never feel that my meat suit fully represents who I am as a person, um, it is the thing that carries my brain around, right? And so there is a responsibility and obligation, right, to take care of it too. And I've done a really crappy job of that most of my life. And so this whole sleeping thing yesterday, like created this like panic, like what's wrong with me? Right? Am I sick? Do I have the flu? Why am I sleeping so much? And it took a lot of unpacking of that to realize that no, your body is tired. My body works overtime a lot of the time, just like my brain works overtime, right? That's the nature of POTS, right? Is that for whatever reason your heart rate just goes bloop, right? Or your blood levels don't reach your brain, and it's just um this crazy thing that happens. And so how do we make sense of that? How does somebody who really has a preference for consistency, right, deal with an inconsistent body? That, oh, I just gave myself goosebumps. That is really the crux of it, isn't it? It's that my brain really likes routine and consistency. My brain really dislikes change, right? My brain wants to do what it wants to do, and it doesn't want things getting in the way of that. And my physical body is quite the opposite, right? My physical body has all these weird triggers to it that are unknown and ununderstandable. And some things help, and sometimes those same things don't help, which is really weird, right? And it can feel like it comes out of nowhere, right? That I didn't do anything to exacerbate it or to lead it on and all of those things. So it's like my poor brain that loves consistency has the most inconsistent body that it has to function in, right? And that making that work is really hard for me. Um making Trying to have routines around that is hard, right? When Okay. So that is my big thought of today's growing gratitude. And I think that probably I should explore this further in this week's Patreon when I do my journal entry this week, right? Because right, how do we deal with that when your brain just is like, please, if I do all these things the same, I should get the same results, right? But when I do that with my body, that's not always the same. That's not what happens all the time. And it's a really hard thing to be stuck in that place because it's very frustrating. And then also, you're not doing a great job of taking care of everything because you don't quite, right? You get it. I'm going to pursue this, you guys. That's what I basically want to say is, um, growing gratitude is often where I just spitball the things that I'm thinking about, and kind of share that with you guys first, and kind of see where it sits and how it all comes out. And then sometimes something like this happens where I have like an aha moment. Bloop. Did you see the light bulb form at the top of my head? But that's what happened, right? I have this idea. That's right. That's the crux of this problem, isn't it? Right? If I was driving a car that sometimes worked perfectly and sometimes didn't work perfectly, right? I'd have plans to take care of it, right? But then sometimes it would happen in the most unplanned way, and you have to be planned for the unplanned. Ah, okay. There's more to this than that for sure. So I'm going to start thinking about it now, and I'll keep thinking about it. And obviously, the Patreon journal entries come out on Friday. So I have some time to really percolate on this before I give you more, unless something really crazy happens that I feel another thought comes, I feel will supplant it in terms of the Patreon journal entries. Heavily considering moving to Substack. Don't know what to do about that. Um, I really am enjoying writing these journal entries, though. It's been keeping me very accountable about stuff that's going on. It's also last week's journal entry really inspired an article for me to write. It's going to be coming out on Tuesday. So if you're on LinkedIn, I'm throwing out a LinkedIn article that's based on that Remembering Rosemary um, Patreon that I posted. Um, so that's the kind of things that come out and through Patreon that you're seeing there that other folks aren't seeing. But if you saw that journal entry and you liked it, I ended up writing an article about autistic quality of life from it, because I couldn't stop thinking about it. So anyway, if you are a viewer, those are the kind of things that happen here. We had a light bulb moment here on gratitude, and you'll see more about it, I'm sure. And maybe, just maybe, if I work it through enough, I'll be able to come up with some kind of tool that I can throw in the Shoppe on my website, where you guys can get the course and the other downloads. And it'll be another download maybe around how we work through a body that's not so predictable with a brain that really likes things that are consistent, right? There's got to be a way for us to manage that. And so I'm going to work on that. Those are the things that I'll do for this week. So if you are not on Patreon, that only goes to the Growing Gratitude tier and above, those journal entries, I think. So, or did I make them public? Don't remember. Can't remember right now. But please make sure that you head over there and you check out those journal entries and you join the Patreon, of course. Other things, uh, not really. Oh, one other thing. I'm going to be working on, I think for the end of month of mental health month, I'm going to put a live webinar out, I think, around boundaries, around the art of saying no. I'm going to try to do it for May. I might, I came to the idea kind of late in May, so it might be a June thing. Might end up coming out then, but keep your eyes open. If you're interested in doing something live with me, a live course thing that you haven't done in a while, I'm going to do a live webinar around the art of saying no and setting up those boundaries. So, yes, think about that. Keep your eyes open. Follow me on social media, all of that. And with that, I will say thank you once again for joining me this Sunday for Growing Gratitude. I'm Becca Lori Hector, your host here, and this is my weekly reminder to you to please, please, please take care of your body, your meat suit, right? Take care of it. Make sure you protect that head space, right? And make sure that you keep your eyes, ears, nose, hands, heart, body, everything open to all the small good glimmers out there, because those are the things that keep us going. Those are the things that keep us motivated, right? Like, look at this face. Look at that little face right there. Oh, it's so sweet, right? That's a glimmer right there. It's my favorite glimmer. I look at it regularly. Miss Fiona, my Miss Fiona. Oh, I love her so much. Okay. Anyway, so with that, you guys, I will see you out and about on the interwebs. Please reach out to me. You can find me anywhere. Join the Patreon to support the gratitude continuing to come your way. And I will see you next Sunday at 10 a.m. for the next Growing Gratitude. Have a great week, you guys. Bye.